Hey everyone, I'm going to try to make this quick. I recorded a video just a little bit ago and I guess I got a little carried away. It was almost 20 minutes and I saw that our limit is supposed to be 5 to 7 minutes. But this is a topic I'm very passionate about. It's something I'm really pushing for. It's something that I really believe will help all students that have this issue or will have this issue. It's something that I believe not only me, but a lot of you probably deal with as well, and that's federal student loans and the debt that comes with those federal student loans after you graduate. It's something that, like I mentioned, I'm very passionate about. I've done a little bit of research over my time thinking about this. And I recently found an article from usgovernmentrevenue.com, and what this basically states is that in 2015 it's estimated that the U.S. government is going to bring in about $5.6 trillion in revenue. If all of that money was applied directly to our national debt would be under control in just a few short years. Now, my idea on this is something that will actually add to the national debt, but it's something that I believe can be made up elsewhere. So currently, I actually logged into nelnet.com, and that's where I have the majority of my student loans through, which is a U.S. federal loan. And my debt right now, my student loan debt, actually sits at this very second at $44,513.27, which will roughly put me at about $263 every month for the next 15 years. I don't know about you, but I can think of a lot of better things to do with that $263 every month than apply it to student loan repayment. This is why I like this topic, because it's something that I really feel like the government should pay for. If they paid off our national student loan debt, which according to the U.S. National Debt Clock, which can be found at usdebtclock.org, there are over $1.3 trillion worth of federal student loan debt right now. Which is why I say, our national debt, I know, is over $18 trillion. This would add another $1.3 trillion to our national debt. But in the long run, this is something that's going to be very beneficial for the U.S. economy. And I'll get to that in just a moment. One thing that I also saw from CNSnews.com, in 2007, the federal student loan debt at that time was at $98.5 billion. And with the government bringing in $5.6 trillion, I'm not sure what they were bringing in 2007, but 98.5 is a very small amount compared to the trillions of dollars, and could have been paid off so easily. Now, as of December 2014, as mentioned according to the U.S. debt clock, is at $1.3 trillion. So it's an extremely high amount and completely unnecessary. Now, my solutions on how to make up that $1.3 trillion that would be applied, ultimately added to the U.S. federal debt and deficit, are very simple things. The first thing, which I recently learned, is that the NFL organization is not taxed. Each individual team is taxed, but the organization as a whole, where all of these individual teams pay their membership dues to, is not taxed. They are a tax-exempt, non-profit organization. This is something that's a little bit crazy because they bring in billions and billions of dollars every year, and they're not taxed on it. If they were taxed, according to todayifoundout.com, amongst other sources that I've recently learned about, the government would bring in approximately $10 million every season from the NFL if they were taxed. So imagine adding $10 million in tax revenue. That is a great start to helping take out that $1.3 trillion federal student loan deficit. Additionally, Senator Tom Coburn from Oklahoma, every year, he actually outlines, and he's retired now, but he actually outlines a book called The Waste Book. And this book just basically tells you how the government is spending your money in a wasteful manner. For example, according to CNN.com, NASA pays Russia $70 million per passenger to send American astronauts to the International Space Station and back. So, and also the space agency is spending $3 billion on the International Space Station each year. That's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on the International Space Station, especially since they're conducting studies proposed by elementary students, including one that will design and create better golf clubs. So we're spending $70 million, or we're paying Russia $70 million to send our astronauts to space, then paying $3 billion each year for the International Space Station where they're conducting studies about better golf clubs. Makes sense. No. They're also, the National Institutes of Health is also, they received $387,000 in taxpayer money to give Swedish massages to rabbits with mechanical machines. The government gave them $387,000, although the National Institutes of Health actually has a $30 billion annual budget. So they had plenty of money to conduct that research on their own. But these are just some of the things that are outlined. Even paying $10,000 for scientists to watch grass grow. They just don't make sense. But all of these different things that would be outlined in the books that he's written so far for the past few years would easily add up to billions and quite potentially trillions of dollars, which would easily make up for paying off the student loan debt. And eventually, once that's paid off, would turn around and could be applied directly to our federal deficit. So, like I mentioned, this is something that I'm very passionate about. I actually am contacting senators and congressmen to do something about this, because it's something that, like I mentioned, could easily be made up and taken care of. And another way to do so is, or to make up that amount, is, so I mentioned my student loan payment every month will be about $263. Well, if my federal student loan debt is paid off, I now all of a sudden have $263 extra every month, which goes right back into the U.S. economy, because now that I have that extra money, I'll be out, buying clothes, appliances, a house, technology, several different things. And by me doing that, like I mentioned, the money goes right back in the U.S. economy, which all of a sudden gives the U.S. economy extra money from tax revenues. It also allows companies to bring in more revenue, which then allows them to expand their operations, hire new people, and in doing that, the unemployment rate will then drop. Which, if you have less people in the unemployment line, now you have more people in the workforce, which are helping also pay for programs like Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. Programs that people of my generation are thought to, never be able to benefit from because they're going bankrupt. Less and less people are paying for it. They're out of the workforce. So this would have a huge impact on the U.S. economy, And I can't mention enough, it's something I'm very passionate about, and not just because I have federal student loan debt. Obviously, it would be great to not have to pay back almost $50,000. That would be wonderful. But it's something that affects students all over this country and would greatly help our government revenue and our U.S. economy as a whole. So if this is something that you like as well, please contact your local congressman or senator. Any sort of progress with this would help greatly. And like I said, not only me, but it would help potentially you and your family, your kids, your grandkids, and anyone around you, really. So with that in mind, please just kind of think about that and really push for it if it's something that you feel you are passionate about as well. Thank you.